All right, so today let's dive into something I think a lot of our listeners are curious about. And honestly, I'm curious about it too, and that's organ meats.
Okay.
We're talking about liver, heart, kidney, not exactly what I would say are the stars of most modern menus.
Right.
But you sent us this article, The Nutritional Power of Organ Meats, a comprehensive look. And I have to admit, even I was surprised by what I learned about these often overlooked foods.
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it, how food trends kind of come full circle.
Mm-hmm.
Organ meats were once like really prized for their nutrient density,
Mm-hmm.
especially in cultures where, nothing went to waste.
Right.
And it's like we're kind of, rediscovering their value in today's world, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like this whole back to basics kind of thing.
Exactly.
So the article jumps right into the nutritional comparison with muscle meats, and it really does feel like organ meats were designed in a lab, with how nutrient dense they are.
Well, absolutely. Gram for gram, they pack a much bigger punch when it comes to vitamins and minerals and other, key compounds.
Okay, so let's get specific. The article calls out liver as being packed with vitamin A,
Yes.
protecting vision, immunity, the whole works.
And it's not just the sheer amount of vitamin A, but also the type.
Oh, yeah.
Liver is a rich source of retinol, and that's the form of vitamin A that our bodies can use directly, which is really important because not all vitamin A sources are created equal.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah,
And then there's the B vitamins. It's almost ridiculous how many are in these organ meats.
right. B vitamins are essential for energy production, brain function, so many vital processes, and organ meats are loaded with them, including B12, which can be harder to come by on a plant-based diet.
Make you rethink that whole meatless Monday thing.
Right.
Okay, so we've got A, we've got B's galore. What other vitamins are we talking about?
Well, the article also highlights vitamins D, E, and very interestingly, K2. This is where organ meats, especially liver, really stand out because they're one of the best sources of this often overlooked nutrient.
Okay, I have to admit, I had not really heard of vitamin K2 before diving into this article.
Sure.
What makes it so special?
So vitamin K2 is essential for bone health. It helps to direct calcium to the right places in the body to build strong bones, but it also plays a vital role in cardiovascular health.
Hmm.
And you're right, many people aren't getting enough K2 because it's not as abundant in the modern diet as some other nutrients.
So it's not just about getting enough calcium, but also making sure it's used effectively in the body.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's just one example how organ meats provide this, really unique combination of nutrients that work together synergistically.
Okay, before I move on from vitamins, I have to ask, you mentioned organ meats being a good source of vitamin D, but don't we get that from sunlight?
Right. So our bodies can produce vitamin D from sunlight exposure. However, depending on where you live, the time of year, and even your skin tone, it can be challenging to get enough sunshine, consistently to actually meet your body's vitamin D needs.
Right.
So this is where dietary sources like organ meats can play a valuable role in filling that gap.
Good point. All right. So we've covered the amazing vitamin content, but the article doesn't stop there. We haven't even touched on minerals yet.
We haven't.
And one in particular seems to be getting everyone talking.
You're talking about iron.
I am.
You're right, it's a big one, and specifically heme iron.
Okay, and this heme iron, that's different from the iron you find in, say, spinach.
Exactly. So heme iron is found in animal products like organ meats,
Okay.
and it's much easier for our bodies to absorb compared to the non-heme iron found in plant-based foods.
Interesting. So if you're looking to, bump up your iron levels, a serving of liver could be more effective than that iron fortified cereal. Who knew?
And it's not just about the iron itself, but also what it comes packaged with. So organ meats are also rich in copper, which actually helps your body absorb and utilize iron more efficiently.
Wow.
They work together.
It's really amazing how nature just packages these nutrients together in a way that makes sense.
Exactly. And it's not just iron and copper. Organ meats provide a whole spectrum of essential minerals.
Okay.
Zinc for immunity, selenium as a powerful antioxidant. They truly are nature's multivitamin.
Okay, but hold on a second. We've covered the incredible vitamin and mineral content, but the article mentions even more nutritional benefits.
Absolutely.
Like, what else are we missing out on by, overlooking organ meats?
We brought up the brain a moment ago.
Right.
And this is where things get really interesting. So organ meats are a rich source of choline,
Okay.
which is crucial for brain health, especially for things like memory and mood regulation.
Mood regulation, that's really interesting. Now, I know a lot of people, myself included, kind of swear by like their morning smoothie for a health boost.
Right.
How do organ meats stack up against those kinds of alternatives?
It's a great question. While smoothies and even supplements definitely have their place,
Right.
Organ meats do offer some distinct advantages. We're talking bioavailability, synergy, even sustainability.
Okay, let's break that down. Bioavailability, that refers to how well our bodies absorb and utilize the nutrients.
Right.
Is that?
Precisely. The nutrients in organ meats come in their natural whole food form, which makes them much easier for our bodies to recognize and utilize compared to the synthetic versions that are often found in supplements.
It's kind of like the difference between listening to a live concert and a digital recording.
Okay.
Like both can be enjoyable, but the live experience has a certain vibrancy and depth that's kind of hard to replicate.
I like that analogy, and this ties into the synergy aspect as well.
Okay.
Organ meats offer this really, complex matrix of nutrients that work together in a way that supplements just can't replicate.
So it's not just about the individual nutrients, but about how they interact and enhance each other's effects within the body.
Exactly. It's about the whole being greater than the sum of its parts.
What about people who are, very conscious of the ingredients in their food?
Right.
There's no additives or fillers in organ meats.
Exactly. Organ meats are what they are. There's no long list of ingredients to decipher.
Right.
Plus, they're incredibly versatile. You can add them to stews, stir fries, use them as a base for really rich, flavorful sauces. Get creative in the kitchen.
We're always hearing about how expensive it is to eat healthy. Where do organ meats fall on the affordability scale?
That's another advantage. Organ meats are often much more affordable than trying to achieve the same nutrient density through supplements or even certain cuts of muscle meat.
Interesting.
And let's not forget about the sustainability aspect. I mean, when we utilize the whole animal, including the organs, it aligns with a less wasteful and more ethical approach to food consumption.
Right, like that nose to tail kind of eating.
Exactly.
I think that resonates with a lot of people these days, but realistically, can organ meats really compete with the convenience of something like a green smoothie?
Of course, green smoothies are a great way to get a quick boost of vitamins and antioxidants from fruits and vegetables, but they might fall short on certain nutrients that organ meats offer in abundance,
Okay, like what?
like vitamin B12, heme iron, and some of those fat-soluble vitamins that we talked about earlier, A, D, E, and K.
Right, it's not about picking one over the other, but kind of recognizing that they each have their strengths.
Exactly. They can definitely work together as part of a balanced approach to nutrition.
Okay, good. So we've covered a lot of ground on the benefits, but I think, we have to address the elephant in the room here.
Right.
What about cholesterol?
Sure.
The article does mention that organ meats tend to be higher in that department.
You're right. It's important to address that. And while our understanding of dietary cholesterol has evolved over the years, and it's not necessarily the boogeyman it was once made out to be,
Right.
it's still something to be mindful of, especially for individuals with specific health concerns.
So moderation is key.
Exactly. I mean, as with any food, it's all about balance. And it's
Yeah.
always wise to, consult with your doctor or registered dietitian to figure out what's right for you.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. So for those listening who are, now maybe a little intrigued by this idea of bringing organ meats back to the table, where do you recommend they start?
I always encourage people to, start small.
Okay.
Maybe think about incorporating them into some familiar recipes. I mean, there are tons of resources online, even cookbooks dedicated to making organ meats more approachable for the modern palate.
That's a good idea. Any favorite preparation methods or flavor combinations you'd recommend?
Personally, I love a good liver pate.
Okay.
It's surprisingly easy to make,
Really?
and the flavors can be so rich and complex. You can also get really creative with marinades and spices when you're grilling heart or kidney.
Right.
The possibilities are really kind of endless.
Wow. You've definitely piqued my curiosity. I'm feeling inspired to get a little adventurous in the kitchen.
That's what it's all about. Rediscovering these traditional foods like organ meats can be such a delicious way to expand our palates and nourish our bodies.
Totally. And on that note, we'll leave you with this final thought. In a world obsessed with the latest superfoods and supplements, could the real nutritional goldmine lie in these often overlooked foods? Something to, chew on and maybe even sample as you continue to explore this fascinating world of nutrition.
I love it.
Until next time, happy diving.